This is the Manga Xanadu Manga Dome podcast. I am your host, Laurie Henderson. Join me on this journey into the world of manga, where a river of reviews flow through caverns of commentary down into the latest news. Welcome to the Manga Dome. Episode 12. Thermae Rome gets spin-off. Thermae Rome, the Eisner-nominated comedy manga, is getting a spin-off in Japan. The original series is about Lucius, a Roman architect of baths who is able to travel in time to modern Japan. He takes the innovations he finds in the future and applies them to his own world. This new spin-off will feature several side characters that appeared throughout the original series. It appears most of the characters featured will be from modern Japan, with the horse Hanako, Satsuki's grandfather Tetsuzo, and the people of the Ito hot spring. Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelianus will also be appearing. Yen Press licensed the original and has published 4 of the 6 volumes in 2 gorgeous oversized hardbacks. I've read the first volume and it was hysterical. It definitely deserves its Eisner nomination. Hopefully these volumes are doing well for Yen Press and they will also license this new series. It's scheduled to start in September in Japan, so it may be a while, but it is sure to be worth the wait. Viz Manga Top 10. It's opposite day at Viz Manga. The usual ratio of 7-3 between shonen and shoujo titles is still there, but for the week of June 19th, 2013, it's reversed. Shoujo rules the list. Starting at number 1, Kare First Love Volume 3 takes the top spot. From Far Away Volume 10 returns to the list at number 2 after the series took a break last week. Arata, The Legend, Volume 14 is one of the 3 shonen this week, coming in at number 3, but should also be noted it is by well-known shoujo creator Yu Watase. Gabakawa, another older title, appears this week at number 4. This one-shot was serialized in Shoujo Beat back in the day. Shaman King returns after a week break with Volume 29 at number 5 and is a second shonen title. Red River is another returnee with Volume 11 coming in at number 6. Alice 19th Volume 2 comes in at number 7, debuting higher than number 1 did 2 weeks ago. Demon Love Spell Volume 3 loses its spot at the top from last week and falls 7 to number 8. Weekly favorite Case Closed returns with Volume 11 at number 9, while newcomer to the list, Love Calm Volume 2, comes in at number 10. It is almost shocking to see a list not only this top-heavy with shoujo manga, but also with no Naruto. It is a first since I started following it 6 weeks ago. Can this last? Or was Volume 60's long-lasting power due to the return of fangirl favorite Sasuke? We'll have to wait and see next week. In the new releases for the week, 2 new titles were added. Whack Whack is a Shonen Jump title from 2009 and is 4 volumes long. In a world where black-blooded humans fight against machines, Shio, one of the 7 guardians who merge with the Gojinzo to fight the machines, meets Matsuda, a girl from another world with red blood. Shio believes her to be one of the gods prophesied to save the human race. Is she really their last hope? I remember when this title came out, and it made a bit of a buzz in the manga reviewer community at the time. I never read a volume, though. Mixed Vegetables is a shoujo from 2008 and is 8 volumes long. It's about Hanyu Ashitaba, the daughter of a famous pastry chef who wants to be a sushi chef, and Hayato Hyuga, the son of a famous sushi chef who wants to be a pastry chef. Hanayu wants to marry Hayato so she can join a sushi family, but she has to get him interested in her first. I read a volume of the series back in the day, but wasn't really impressed. It didn't seem to do food or romance very well, but check it out yourself. Review: Umineko When They Cry, Episode 1, Legend of the Golden Witch. I first discovered Higurashi When They Cry through Yen Press's Yen Plus magazine. The manga was rather disturbing. The anime was 3 times that. I haven't been able to go back and read a full volume yet. I find the mystery aspects interesting, but I just can't handle the horror. So when Umineko When They Cry came out, I took on the first volume with some trepidation. I was worried it was going to be as disturbing and gruesome as Higurashi. While it still has some gore, Umineko instead puts the mystery first with a great setup and characters that just drew me in and got hold of me completely. The story is by Ryukishi 07, the same writer as Higurashi, and the art is by Kei Natsumi. It is published by Yen Press and is rated older teen. It is a mystery thriller and goes for $18.99 for an omnibus of the first 2 Japanese volumes. Every year, the Ushi-Romiya family gather on a secluded island, which is the home of its eccentric patriarch, Kinzo. He doesn't have much time left to live, and his children and their families have come to argue over the inheritance. Battler Ushi-Romiya is the son of Rudolph, the third in line for succession. It has been 6 years since he has been to a family reunion, as a falling out with his father led him to live with his mother's relatives. Some things have changed in Battler's absence. The torii gate and shrine that marked the arrival to the island is gone, and his grandfather has put a portrait of Beatrice, the witch said to have given him the gold that the family fortune was built on, put up in the manor. As a typhoon hits the island, stranding the family, a letter from the witch herself arrives via Maria, the youngest of the cousins. It is a challenge to the family: solve the riddle of the hidden gold, or lose both the gold and their lives. That's when the horrible murders begin, and Battler must put his deductive skills to work, flipping the chessboard to find all the possibilities and maybe even the murderer. There are so many things I enjoy about this volume. It's hard to think where to start. Like Higurashi, Umineko takes place in the 1980s, 1986 to be exact, putting our main character, Battler, in a white suit and colored shirt and tie. I'm a sucker for guys in suits. Battler is a great main character. He is like any 18-year-old. He likes to goof around, doesn't like to talk about his grades, and has a bit of a pervy side. Battler also does not believe in magic or the supernatural. He looks for a logical explanation for everything and uses his stepmother's phrase, flip the chessboard, to find new and different ways to look at the evidence. I love this about Battler. He never considers the supernatural seriously. When the first murders happen, he begins considering the possibility that there is a 19th person the others are not aware of that could have committed the crimes rather than a witch. He looks at the top suspects and flips the board when looking at their motives and opportunities. From my first meeting with Battler, I was drawn in. Battler's opposite in this first volume is Maria, the youngest cousin. Maria is a 9-year-old and interested in the occult. When they first arrive at the island and see the torii gate and shrine gone, she immediately predicts disaster. She believes wholeheartedly in the witch, becoming Beatrice's messenger. She gives Jessica, the cousin that is the same age as Battler, an amulet, which Jessica gives to her mother and seems to have saved her from being one of the 6 sacrifices. She also knows about the magical symbol left on the door to the shed where the bodies were found. Whenever she talks about those things, or the witch, she goes from cute to creepy in no time flat. Her eyes get big like black saucers, and her text balloons turn black. She looks like she's about to go psycho on you. I love the conflict of magic versus logic as portrayed between these 2 characters. There are a lot of other characters to love and hate in this volume. Most of the grown-ups, who seem more interested in getting the biggest share of the inheritance, land on the hate side. Eva, the first daughter and second child, is very haughty and always baiting her sister-in-law Natsui. Her husband, Kraus, the oldest and first in line, is pompous and a jerk. Battler's father, the third in line, Rudolph, is a womanizer, and Rosa, the fourth, seems level-headed, but will strike her daughter in anger. In their first meeting, accusations are flung left and right over motives and border on blackmail. The spouses and the kids have much more sense than the blood relatives. Natsue supports her husband not out of greed but loyalty. She is constantly ridiculed for not being able to wear the one eagle wing crest of the family, but Kinzo gives her words of praise that make her stronger and no longer hurt by them. Battler's stepmother, Kyrie, is the voice of reason that Battler looks up to as an older sister. It's her way of thinking and phrase Battler takes on as he begins to look into solving the mystery. George, Eva's son, is level-headed and somewhat socially awkward. There's a wonderful scene between him and the house servant Shannon when he proposes to her. Both have difficulty expressing their feelings and blush a lot. It was so cute. Jessica is a great foil for Battler. They are the same age and are constantly bickering like siblings might. When I first read this volume, my first thought was of the old 20s and 30s dark house films that took place in an old house where everyone was stranded by some natural disaster. The story relies a lot on the locked room mystery motif, as not only is the manor house locked, but so is the island itself, as it is cut off from the mainland by a typhoon and the radio is destroyed. I love the double layer effect. It makes it more likely that the culprit is either the 19th person or a supernatural force. The story has lots of elements I love in a mystery. Seemingly impossible murders, a riddle prophecy to be solved, and a boy detective to lead the way. I read one description of this series as it being a form of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney series, and immediately started imagining Battler in Nick's signature pointing pose. Umineko When They Cry, Episode 1, Legend of the Gold Witch, is the kind of mystery series I've been waiting for someone to release ever since Kendachi Case Files was cancelled. The death scenes can be gory, but they are short and don't dominate the volume. It's more about the atmosphere, and the art contributes a lot to that. Natsumi does a great job of showing the fun, fear, uncertainty, desperation, and conviction that permeate the story. Helping to relieve some of the tension of the volumes are the Umineko When They Cry collage theaters, which take panels from the volume and give them funny text. I really enjoyed these. They made for some good laughs after some heavy scenes. If you've been looking for a good traditional mystery series, I would highly recommend picking this up. I will definitely be continuing to read it. I can't wait to see what Battler is going to do next. I give Umineko When They Cry, Episode 1, Legend of the Gold Witch, a 5 out of 5 stars. Thank you for listening to the Manga Xanadu Manga Dome podcast. You can find links to the stories and books discussed here in the show notes at manga.jdragononline.com. You can email me with any questions at xanadu@jdragononline.com or leave a comment on this post. Rate me on YouTube and follow me on Twitter at Manga Xanadu, all one word. Until next time, farewell from the Manga Dome.